David Byrne is a Scottish musician permanently residing in the United States, a founding member and principal songwriter of the American new wave band Talking Heads, active between 1975 and 1991. Since then, Byrne has released his own solo recordings and worked with various media including film, photography, opera, and non-fiction. He has received Grammy, Oscar, and Golden Globe awards and been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Early life: David Byrne was born in Dumbarton, Scotland, to parents Tom and Emma. He was the elder of two children. 2 years later, his parents moved to Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and then to Arbutus, Maryland, in the United States, when he was 8 or 9 years old. His father worked as an electronics engineer. His mother, Emma Byrne, died on June 25, 2014. Before high school, Byrne already knew how to play the guitar, accordion, and violin. He was rejected from his middle school's choir because they claimed he was off-key and too withdrawn. From a young age, he had a strong interest in music. His parents say that he would constantly play his phonograph from age 3 and he learned how to play the harmonica at age 5. In his journals he says, "I was a peculiar young man, borderline Asperger's, I would guess." As revealed by Tina Weymouth in the commentary for the concert film Stop Making Sense, Byrne is left-handed but plays guitar right-handed. Music career: Talking Heads, 1975–1991. He graduated from Lansdowne High School in southwest Baltimore County. Byrne started his musical career in a high school duo named Bizardi with Mark Keogh. Their repertoire consisted mostly of songs such as April Showers, 96 Tears, Dancing on the Ceiling, and Frank Sinatra songs. Byrne then attended the Rhode Island School of Design and the Maryland Institute College of Art before dropping out and forming a band called The Artistics with fellow RISD student Chris France. The band dissolved within a year and the two moved to New York together with France's girlfriend Tina Weymouth. Unable to find a bass player in New York, France and Byrne persuaded Weymouth to learn to play the bass guitar. After some practice and playing together they founded the group Talking Heads, which had its first gig in 1975. Multi-instrumentalist Jerry Harrison joined the group in 1977. The band released 8 studio albums before going into hiatus in 1988. David Byrne desired to go solo, but it took 3 years to announce that the band was breaking up in 1991. A brief reunion for a single sax and violins in 1991 occurred before dissolving again. The band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002, when they reunited to play 4 tracks, including Psycho Killer, and Burning Down the House. Solo album career: 1979–1981, 1989–present. During his time in the band, Byrne took on outside projects, collaborating with Brian Eno during 1979 and 1981 on the album My Life in the Bush of Ghosts, which attracted considerable critical acclaim due to its early use of analog sampling and fan sounds. Following this record, Byrne focused his attention on Talking Heads. My Life in the Bush of Ghosts was re-released for its 25th anniversary in early 2006, with new bonus tracks. In keeping with the spirit of the original album, 2 of the song's component tracks were released under Creative Commons licenses and a remix contest site was launched. Ray Momo was the first solo album by Byrne, after leaving Talking Heads, that features mainly Afro-Cuban, Afro-Hispanic, and Brazilian song styles including popular dances including merengue, Cuban son, samba, mambo, cumbia, ka-ka-ka, bomba, and charanga. His third solo album, Uh-Oh, featured a brass section and was driven by catchy tracks such as Girls on My Mind, and the Cowboy Mambo. His fourth solo album, titled Dividing Rib, was a more proper rock record, with Byrne playing most of the instruments on it, leaving percussion for session musicians. Angels and Back in the Box were the 2 main singles released from the album. The first one entered the US Modern Rock Tracks chart, reaching number 24. For his 5th studio effort The Emotional Feelings, Byrne employed a brass orchestra called Black Cat Orchestra. His 6th look into the eyeball continued the same musical exploration of feelings, but was compiled of more upbeat tracks, like those found on Oh! Grown Backwards, released by Nonasuch Records, used orchestral string arrangements, and includes 2 operatic arias as well as a rework of Express 2 collaboration Lazy. He also launched a North American and Australian tour with the Tosca Strings. This tour ended with Los Angeles, San Diego and New York shows in August 2005. Byrne and Eno reunited for his 8th album Everything That Happens Will Happen Today. He assembled a band to tour worldwide for the album for a 6-month period from late 2008 through early 2009 on the Songs of David Byrne and Brian Eno tour. His latest studio effort was a collaborative album with American singer St. Vincent called Love This Giant. Work in theatre and film, 1981 A Present. In 1981, Byrne partnered with choreographer Twyla Tharp, scoring music he wrote that appeared on his album The Catherine Wheel for a ballet with the same name, prominently featuring unusual rhythms and lyrics. Productions of The Catherine Wheel appeared on Broadway that same year. In Spite of Wishing and Wanting is a soundscape David Byrne produced for the Belgian choreographer Wim van Dijk Bus's dance company Ultima Vez. In 1991, Byrne released a classical instrumental album The Forest, where some of the tracks were already featured as a score for 1988 Robert Wilson theatre piece of the same name. His work has been extensively used in movie soundtracks, most notably in collaboration with Ryuichi Sakamoto and Kong Su on Bernardo Bertolucci's The Last Emperor, which won an Academy Award for Best Original Score. In 2004, Lead Us Not Into Temptation included tracks and musical experiments from his score to Young Adam. Byrne also wrote, directed, and starred in True Stories, a musical collage of discordant Americana released in 1986, as well as producing most of the film's music. Byrne also directed the documentary La and the concert film of his 1992 Latin-tinged tour titled Between the Teeth. He was chiefly responsible for the stage design and choreography of Stop Making Sense in 1984. Byrne added Loco de Amor with Celia Cruz to Jonathan Demme's 1986 film Something Wild. Byrne wrote the Dirty Dozen brass band-inspired score for Robert Wilson's opera The Knee Plays from the Civil Wars, a tree is best measured when it is down. Some of the music from Byrne's orchestral album The Forest was originally used in a Wilson-directed theatre piece with the same name. The Forest premiered at the Theatre der Freien Volksbühne 1/4 HNE, Berlin in 1988. It received its New York premiere in December 1988 at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. The Forestry Maxi single contained dance and industrial remixes of pieces from The Forest by Jack Dangers, Rudy Tambula, and Anthony Cape. In late 2005, Byrne and Fatboy Slim began work on Here Lies Love, a disco opera or song cycle about the life of Imelda Marcos, the controversial former First Lady of the Philippines. Some music from this piece was debuted at Adelaide Festival of Arts in Australia in February 2006 and the following year at Carnegie Hall on February 3, 2007. In 2008, Byrne released Big Love, Hymnal his soundtrack to Season 2 of Big Love. These 2 albums constituted the first releases on his personal independent record label Todo Mundo. Byrne and Brian Eno provided the soundtrack for the film Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps. Other musical contributions, 1990 A Present, Byrne has contributed songs to 5 AIDS benefit compilation albums produced by the Red Hot Organization, Red Hot Plus Blue, a tribute to Cole Porter, Red Hot Plus Rio, Silencio equals Mute, Red Hot Plus Latin, Onda Sonora, Red Hot Plus Lisbon, and Offbeat, a Red Hot soundtrip. Byrne appeared as a guest vocalist-guitarist for 10,000 Maniacs during their MTV Unplugged concert, though the songs in which he is featured were cut from their following album. One of them, Let the Mystery Be, appeared as the 4th track on 10,000 Maniacs CD single Few and Far Between. Byrne worked with the Queen of Tejano music, Latin superstar Selena, writing, producing and singing a song, included on Selena's last album, Dreaming of You, before her murder. Byrne was the host of sessions at West 54th during its second of 3 seasons and collaborated with members of Devo and Mort Sheba to record the album Feelings in 1997. In 2001 a version of Byrne's single Like Humans Do, edited to remove its drug reference, was selected by Microsoft as the sample music for Windows XP to demonstrate Windows Media Player. In 2002, he co-wrote and provided vocals for a track, Lazy by Express 2, which reached number 2 in the United Kingdom and number 1 on the US dance charts. Byrne said in an interview in BBC 4 Sessions' coverage of his Union Chapel performance that Lazy Air was number 1 in Syria. The track later featured with orchestral arrangements on his Grown Backwards album. In 2006, his singing was featured on The Heart a Lonely Hunter on the Cosmic Game by Thievery Corporation. He is featured on the tracks Money and The People Tree, on NASA's 2009 album The Spirit of Apollo. Also in 2009, David Byrne appeared on HIV/AIDS charity album Dark Was the Night for Red Hot Organization. He collaborated with Dirty Projectors on the song Knotty Pine. In the same year, Byrne performed at the Bonnaroo Music Festival in Manchester, Tennessee. He also was a signator of a letter protesting the decision of the Toronto International Film Festival to choose Tel Aviv as the subject of its inaugural City-to-City Spotlight strand. In 2007, David Byrne provided a cover of the Fiery Furnace's song Ex-Guru for a compilation to celebrate the 15th birthday of Thrill Jockey, a Chicago-based label. In 2008, Byrne and his production team turned the Battery Maritime Building, a 99-year-old ferry terminal in Manhattan, into a playable musical instrument. The structure was connected electronically to a pipe organ and made playable for a piece called Playing the Building. This project was previously installed in Stockholm, Sweden in 2005, and later at the London Roundhouse in 2009. It bears similarities to a series of installations created by New Zealand and Detroit-based artists Alistair Galbraith and Matt DeGeneiro, which were recorded on their 1998 record Wire Music and on the 2006 follow-up Long Wires in Dark Museums, Volume 2. Byrne says that the point of the project was to allow people to experience art firsthand, by creating music with the organ, rather than simply looking at it. In April 2008, Byrne took part in the Paul Simon retrospective concert series at BAM performing You Can Call Me Al, and I Know What I Know from Simon's Grassland album. In 2008, Byrne collaborated with the Brighton Port Authority, composing the music and singing the lyrics for Toe Jam. In May 2011, Byrne contributed backing vocals to the Arcade Fire track Speaking in Tongues, which appeared on the deluxe edition of their 2010 album The Suburbs. In March 2013, he debuted a fully staged production of his 2010 concept album Here Lies Love at New York's Public Theater, directed by Tony Award nominee Alex Timbers following its premiere at MoCA earlier in the year. In May 2014, David Byrne announced his involvement in Anna Carvai's EP, Strange Weather, collaborating with her on 2 songs, a cover of Karen Ann's Strange Weather, and Conan Mocasson's I'm the Man, That Will Find You. Other work, Byrne founded the world music record label Luaka Bop in 1990. It was originally created to release Latin American compilations, but it has grown to include music from Cuba, Africa, the Far East and beyond, releasing the work of artists such as Cornershop, Os Mutants, Los Diabejo, Jim White, Zap Mama, Tom Zar Copyright, Los Amigos Invisibles and King Chango. In 2005, Byrne initiated his own internet radio station, Radio David Byrne. Each month, Byrne posts a playlist of music he likes, linked by themes or genres. Byrne's playlists have included African popular music, country music classics, vox humana, classical opera, and film scores from Italian movies. In 2006, Byrne released Arboretum, a sketchbook facsimile of his tree drawings, published by Max Wienes. Byrne is also a visual artist whose work has been shown in contemporary art galleries and museums around the world since the 1990s. Represented by the Pace McGill Gallery in New York, he has also created public art installations, many of them anonymously. In 2010 his original artwork was in the exhibition The Record, Contemporary Art and Vinyl at the Nasher Museum of Art at Duke University. Personal life, relationships. Byrne had a brief affair with Toni Basil in 1981 and he dated Twyla Tharp between 1981 and 1982. While visiting Japan in 1983, Byrne met costume designer Adele Lutz, whom he married in 1987. They have a daughter, Malaapni Valentine Byrne, born in 1989. Byrne and Lutz divorced in 2004. After his divorce, he became romantically involved with an art curator named Louise Neary. He also had a relationship with the artist Cindy Sherman from 2007 to 2011. Although a resident of the United States since childhood, Byrne is still a British subject, but applied for U.S. citizenship in 2012. He lives in New York City. Cycling. Byrne is known for his activism in support of increased cycling and for having used a bike as his main means of transport throughout his life, especially cycling around New York. He has a regular cycling column in the New York Times and does not own a car. Byrne says that he began cycling while he was in high school and returned to it as an adult in the late 1970s. He likes the freedom and exhilaration cycling gives him. He has written widely on cycling, including a 2009 book, Bicycle Diaries. In August 2009, Byrne auctioned his Montague folding bike to raise money for the London cycling campaign. In 2008, Byrne designed a series of bicycle parking racks in the form of image outlines corresponding to the areas in which they were located, such as a dollar sign for Wall Street and an electric guitar in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Byrne worked with a manufacturer that constructed the racks in exchange for the ability to sell them later as art. The racks remained on the streets for about a year. Works, solo studio albums. My Life in the Bush of Ghosts, Ray Momo, Uh-Oh, David Byrne, Feelings, Look into the Eyeball, Grown Backwards, Everything That Happens Will Happen Today, Love This Giant, Talking Heads studio albums. Talking Heads, 77, More Songs About Buildings and Food, Fear of Music, Remain in Light, Speaking in Tongues, Little Creatures, True Stories, Naked, Books, True Stories, Strange Ritual, Chronicle Books, Your Action World, The New Sins, David Byrne Asks You, What Is It? Smart Art Press, Envisioning Emotional Epistemological Information with DVD, Arboretum, Bicycle Diaries, How Music Works, Film, Stop Making Sense a Euro concert movie from Talking Heads Tour, True Stories, The Last Emperor a Euro soundtrack, ELA a Euro documentary, Here Lies Love a Euro concept album in collaboration with Norman Cook, Ride, Rise, Roar a Euro music documentary of his concert tour with Brian Eno, This Must Be the Place a Euro 2011, references. Further reading, Steenstra, Sites, Song and Circumstance. The work of David Byrne from Talking Heads to the Present, Continuum, ISBN A978-0-8264-4168-3. Howell, John. Byrne, David, David Byrne, Thunder's Mouth Press, ISBN A978-1-56025-031-9. Gittins, Ian, Talking Heads Once in a Lifetime. The Stories Behind Every Song, Carlton, ISBN A978-1-84442-671-3. External links, David Byrne Euro official site, David Byrne discography at Discogs, David Byrne at the Internet Movie Database.